Hello everyone, I'm glad to be here. My name is Vladimir Tomko. I'm the CEO and game producer of Blockchain Cuties. It's a crypto collectible game that's been around on the market. We're almost a year on the market already, and we're slowly turning this game into a strategy. And today I'm going to tell you about how we started, where we are, and what are our plans. Does it work? Okay, so I believe if you're into crypto, majority of you already know about our game. If you're not, then basically we were several times #1 game on Ethereum blockchain, few times #1 game on Tron blockchain. We received the Best Crypto Game Award at Crypto Games Conference. We're the first game on the market to ever release on 2 blockchains simultaneously and on 3 blockchains, and we tried to develop our game pretty fast. We're also the first product that released the non-custodial wallet inside a game, which allows us to be playable on every modern browser out there. So how it all started? Basically, on December the 2nd, we first heard about CryptoKitties, and because I'm on the market for 15 years right now, I've already seen a lot of different gaming markets being born, such as casual gaming market, social gaming market, native mobile gaming market, and I quickly understood that a new market is being born and it's time to jump in because pioneers usually have an upper hand. So we decided to stop what we were doing and started to develop a new game. We spent 1 week of researching and playing CryptoKitties, understanding how everything works, talking with their community, asking what's important, what's not important, why people are playing that, and so on. And while doing that, we were drafting the game design document based on which we wanted to develop our game. So by the 20th of December, we've had the document drafted, we've gathered a team, and on the 28th of December 2017, we started developing our game. So it didn't went all smooth from the very beginning because there were a lot of unknown variables. It's a new market and we didn't know who are the players. So the main problem was to find out whether these guys are playing the games because they like to do so, because they like to receive emotions, or they just doing that because it is possible to earn money this way. So we needed to ask the audience and make some assumptions. Then we needed to understand what gaming market are we going to address in the future. Is it going to be like hardcore users, or are we addressing a broader audience? And what's most important is that at that time there was only 1 game on the market available. It's crypto collectible, and all the game mechanics were on blockchain. So if to compare that game to the normal native mobile applications, it was like very, very simple, but people were playing it. And part of that, because the game was transparent, smart contracts were holding all the mechanics, and we thought that some of the people might not be okay if we take away some of the mechanics and put them to the regular server stuff. So it was a dilemma that we didn't know how to solve, but we decided that we make an assumptions and do it anyway. And the last thing, we needed to understand what kind of game are we going to make out of this little startup in 3 years' time. So basically, we made some assumptions and shots were fired. So we decided that current audience are not gamers at all. It's mainly cryptocurrency traders and ICO investors, and it appeared to be true. Some of them do have gaming experience, but we didn't know that at that time. We also decided to go for a more broader appeal of a game so that it would be appealing to both male and female audiences from Western countries and from Asia. And we decided that we will do a thirst hybrid game because we wanted our game to be filled with different interesting mechanics in the future, and if we would put it all on the Ethereum blockchain, then people would have to pay for every action they're doing, and this is not fun. So we needed to make them a separate case where they can do a lot of stuff which is free, and something which is meaningful will be written on blockchain. And we drafted a plan how we'll make a MMO strategy game out of this crypto collectible. So the market at the time when we started was completely different. ICO was ICO thing was on its peak. Everything crypto-related was super expensive. For example, experienced blockchain developers in Europe costed around $5 to $14K per month. Paid advertising on web resources such as CoinDesk and Cointelegraph was around $30, $40 CPM, and CPI was $45 plus. So it was super, super, super expensive. And publications in quality news outlets such as Cointelegraph and CoinDesk was around 10K. It meant that if you made at least one mistake during your user acquisition, you could lose a lot of money. So you had to be very smart. Then there were almost no game developers on the market, only crypto guys who didn't know how to make games. They thought that crypto games is a new wave of ICO, and it meant quick profit for them. And the Ethereum was the only blockchain that was suited for games, public blockchain, because it had smart contracts, non-fungible tokens, and educated audience. If we're speaking about clients, basically it was a web browser market, a desktop web browser market. People were playing using MetaMask extension, which was available only to Chrome and Firefox. Toshi, it's called Coinbase Wallet right now, made a first integration with CryptoKitties only in late January 2018. So at the beginning, it also wasn't available. There were no free traffic around. There were guys like OpenSea, but DeppRudder and tokenized games were not around yet. So you couldn't build your user acquisition strategy based on those partnerships because there were nothing. But there was Facebook. Facebook didn't ban crypto yet, and we initially thought we would do user acquisition through Facebook. But month afterwards, it banned crypto, and Google and Twitter quickly followed. So I won't tell you about the whole development stages. I will tell you just the interesting stuff. So basically, we did a lot of research. We researched all the games that went out in January, like Crypto Celebrities, Crypto Alpacas, Crypto Tulips, all this stuff. We coded the game, and we decided that we need to make our in-game characters as cute as possible so that they would appear both Asian and Western audiences. And we took 14 iterations of one cat, and this is our first character, the progenitor of all the cuties there are. We call him Cutie Cat or Kode. And afterwards, we decided, based on this art style, create everything else. So we also are the first company to develop the modular smart contract system. When we analyzed CryptoKitties, we understood that they can't update their game. It just the game uploaded to the blockchain and you play it as is. And we didn't want that because we're from the gaming industry. We decided to go this way. We would create a core with all the very important information such as what is the commission that we take, how breeding goes, and so on. But everything else will be attached via additional models. And each new subsequent model could rewrite the config files of the previous one. So if we mess up somewhere, we can upload a new smart contract and fix this thing. So this is how we went. We did a lot of work, and by the 5th of March, we had an open beta ready. It was pretty simple. It had 3 races, species like dogs, cats, and bears, and we released it. Then we tried to do our first user acquisition. It was mainly through Telegram and Discord channels, and we gathered around 30 people. Majority of them are still playing the game, and they basically told us what they want, how they want it to be. They catch some bugs and so on. And by the 26th of April, we had a ready game. 2 weeks before, we decided to launch a pre-sale. It went very conservative, so we earned around 12 Ether by then, but Ether was around like $700, so it was okay. And on the 26th of April, the game was launched. At the beginning, we understood that a lot of people are going to jump into the market to make the games as fast as possible, so time to market was the #1 metric. So we released our game in 3 months and 24 days. Team size was 10 people. And we started to do user acquisition the way we could. Facebook was banned already, so it had to be a lot of community management, a lot of partnerships, speaking with different people who have some kind of crypto-related traffic, and we succeeded at it. And another thing that set us apart from all the games back then, we had a mobile version from day one, so you could play on mobile and you could play on desktop. So what's our approach? Because the market is very small, and at that point it was even smaller, but a big degree, a little bit smaller. We decided that we can't do a lot of different products. We needed to find something that works and to capitalize around it. So we choose a mono-product strategy, and we created Blockchain Cuties, and all additional products were created on top of that. Our wallet, our like API that we will open to developers very soon, and so on. So because there is no such thing as the highest limit of how much somebody can spend in a single transaction in crypto gaming, community is super important, because there are a lot of people who has enormous amounts of money, and they're okay to spend it in your game if you find a proper approach. So you need to make those people feel comfortable, so they won't be afraid that you will leave the game in 3 months, in half a year. So they know that it's like an investment for the future. So you will be around on the market for a year, for 2 years, and so on. So we put community-driven development as our core. Then we decided to build trust with frequent game updates, because when new players are onboarded, they need to see that something is going on. They're not into a community yet, they don't have any social connections, but they need to be able to see that the game is performing and it is updating. And because the whole strategy at the very beginning was working with partners, we decided to go full commitment when working with them. We created branded items, unique cuties, did a lot of special campaigns, and this paid off. For example, there in the upper left corner, you can see Justin Sun cutie with a Tron branded t-shirt. And we also were pioneering in important stuff, meaning that if something can bring us more audience and more money, and there is no solution on the market to that yet, we make that solution ourselves. So after the game release in 2018, we did a lot of stuff. We set a high development speed standard. We released from 2 to 4 updates per month. And we expanded our entry funnel by introducing our first internal non-custodial Qt wallet. It wasn't an extension, it was built into the game, so people who play from Mobile Safari or Microsoft Edge were able to play the game. And people who are playing CryptoKitties needed MetaMask for that. So the entry funnel was a lot higher, and because it was our own wallet, we were able to find partners who would bring us fiat payments. The commission was very big, but it was okay, and some people were actually buying crypto from fiat because they didn't have crypto before. We added a lot of different mechanics, released our own in-game hard currency based on ERC20 standard, and we plan to release it on exchanges pretty soon, and started to integrate with different various popular tokens, such as Binance token, Abyss, Plat token, and so on. And what's most important is that we looked at blockchains that exist as game stores, as like Apple App Store and Google Play, and we try to be on every blockchain that is game compatible right now to have access to their audience and to serve as a gateway from like normal people who are not into blockchain to the crypto world. So we already are on 3 blockchains, and we plan to introduce 4th very soon. So what are the challenges that we are facing? Well, every time we're porting a game, it takes a lot of time from the development team to do all the stuff and replicate all the mechanics. If we're speaking about Ethereum, it's Tron. They are like compatible. It is easier to do that, but if we speak about EOS, it has completely different philosophy, completely different writing language, so it is very slow. And when we do that, we're not in the vacuum. There is a lot of competition, and they always try to get closer in terms of different mechanics and stuff. So right now we don't have like an upper hand in terms of super unique mechanics. Majority of games have them already. Then we had a very interesting case when we bet on our own wallet when entering the EOS space. Because wallet creation on EOS at that time and right now isn't free. You need to pay at least $5. And we estimated if we integrate our own wallet or we integrate Scatter, it would take the same time. So we decided to go with our own wallet. It was all good and well, and the amount of time that needed for registration was like 10 times less than on the market. But we didn't think about the stuff that if somebody has only one wallet and he has all the funds on it, he won't try to use his private key in a different wallet because he's afraid to lose his money. So we released the game, we have the uncustodial wallet, but people were afraid to use our own wallet, and they waited until we introduced the Scatter wallet. So we've lost a whole month of marketing efforts because of that decision. So it can be very risky. And then supporting new mechanics on various blockchains simultaneously takes also a lot of time. So at some point we had some stuff is working everywhere, some stuff is working only on Tron, and some stuff is working only on Ethereum. But we try to be consistent and to make everything everywhere. Another big problem which is happening right now is that competition is learning how to play unfair. Because it is easy to fake transaction volume and user numbers in blockchain. You just spend your money, you create additional wallets, and you do fake transactions, which are never connected with real players. You just turn around your own money. And they, if you do it intelligently, appear on the resources like DAppWriter, State of the Dapps, and some games right now has enormous amount of DAO, but if you compare them on similar web with, let's say, us, you will see that they have 6 times less traffic. So this is what's happening, and it's a race for free traffic because DAppWriter provides such traffic and people are cheating. Then upcoming games that are going to be released in 2019 and in 2020, they look more like games, not like exchanges. So you need to adapt. You need to make your game graphics more appealing, make your mechanics better suited for the type of gameplay that is forming. And you need to think about that and spend money and time doing that. And the global problem for everybody else is that user acquisition is hard and expensive. So where we are right now, we have a team of 26 professionals, and everything we do is done in-house. We have a very loyal player base because of our community-driven approach, and they help us develop the game. We have a special committee of 12 players. They create a separate Trello desk, and each week they escalate a special feature that they need or a thing that community is thinking right now needs fixes, and they help us test the game for free. This is very good, and those relationships are very important. Right now we have 3 very big systems in development, and we plan to release them by the end of the year. In our perspective, they will be a game changer. We're focusing on quality and better UX this year, and last year we were more focused on speed. We're totally metric-driven development guys, and right now we're thinking to transition to 3D graphics, because right now it's like animated SVG, it's full 2D, but we're ready to switch. So I believe that, well, I was speaking about our own company, but what advice I can give you if you're trying to do the game right now, because it's pretty expensive, and I suggest that from the day one you create a strategy of how you will work with your community, because even if you have 50 players and they play every month, then it's a good revenue stream, and you can expand it, you can scale on it. And at some point, if your community is good, the culture in your community is very pleasant, it attracts people who has more money. And you may catch one whale who will pay $10,000 per one asset. The most expensive one that we sold was $9,252. It was during the pre-sale on Tron. So community is very important. Pre-sales still work despite the fact that they're around for a year and a half. So I suggest if you release the game, you do a pre-sale at least 1 month prior to the game launch. And right now we have crypto gaming media, which weren't on the market when we launched the game. And at this point, they're very friendly, open, and easy to reach out. So start building your relationship right now. I suggest you go to Blockchain Gamer Biz, Crypto and Gamers, dgaming, and Dapp.com, and they will definitely write an article about your game just because it is cool. They don't take any money for that. They want the market to grow.